Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're very welcome to this afternoon's webinar. Delighted to be joined by some of the team in Workair, and I'll do the formal introductions at the moment. Great to see some friendly faces. Hi Brenda, hi Emma, hi Kim, good to see you all. And we're delighted to be hosting this event. It's our second in the series with our sponsors Workair, and you'll see Mark Grimes, their sales director from Workair. You might give a wave there, Mark, joining us on the webinar. And obviously today we're really excited to be working and listening and hearing from one of Workair's partners, which is Dialpad. And Venki, we've agreed that we can abbreviate your name because I might make a bags of trying to pronounce it, but just to let the audience know that you are very kindly joining us from California, and it is currently 6 a.m. in California. So we have to really say a big thank you to Venki for getting up early, and he has stepped in at the last minute. Tim Porter was due to take part in the webinar today, and unfortunately due to business commitments he's in the air as we speak, but we are so delighted that Venki can join us, and I know he's going to share his credentials, so I think it's a real plus for everybody, and there's lots of insights that he can share based on his extensive experience in the digital CX space. So as always, we will be recording the webinar. Hi Patrick, hi Philip, and Tara, see you joining there. And we do want to make it as interactive as possible. So again, as with all of our previous webinars, to mention to you to put in any questions or any comments or observations in the little box over there to the right hand side. You'd see it on your panel on this go-to platform. So I'm going to hand over to Mark. He's going to do a quick intro on Workair, and then he's going to hand over to Venki. So Venki, thanks again, and thanks Mark, and I'll come back with any questions at the end. So thanks again.
Thanks very much, Dorothy. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all to the second of the Workair webinar series with CCMA. Just by a quick introduction of Workair for those of you that are new to the series. Here at Workair, it's our job basically to make the complex simple. We are independent experts in the unified and contact center communication space, and we look to provide an end-to-end service where we will engage and understand our client requirements, help them to define a communication strategy. From there, we can build and launch the most appropriate solution. And we also offer a host of integration and post-launch support services to clients. We have 8 global leading solutions available, and the reasoning behind our Workair webinar series is basically to introduce a selection of those partners to you and gain some insight as to how they see the contact center industry moving forwards. As I say, our partners are all globally recognized. They have top-level external security accreditations, multiple open API and integration availability, and they're all easy to implement and to use. So as Dorothy mentioned today, we're very lucky to be joined by Dr. Venki Krishnaswamy, sorry, Venki, who is one of the senior directors with Dialpad. Now, Dr. Venki has joined Dialpad following the acquisition of Cupid, which was a venture-backed startup that he actually founded and led as the CEO. He now serves as Dialpad's CCAS evangelist, who drives the vision for AI-powered omni-channel customer engagement. Prior to Cupid, Venki was the worldwide head of Avaya Labs, where he incubated a number of the first-of-a-kind enterprise communication technologies and solutions. He holds 52 granted patents. He has over 50 technical publications, and he's a 2-time winner of the prestigious Thomas Edison Award for his pioneering inventions on the use of AI techniques in unified communications. Dialpad were founded back in 2011 and are the only proprietary real-time AI-powered enterprise communications platform on the market. Their customers include WeWork, Uber, Motorola, Domo, Xero, and also Stripe. So their platform is very easy and flexible AI-based communications platform, and this has been enhanced recently with their recent acquisitions in the digital experience and self-service areas. So it's our view that their combination of real-time voice intelligence and AI is actually going to change the dynamics of customer experience moving forward. So with that, I will pass you to Venki, who's going to give us a discussion around the future of digital experience and communications, how the newest AI technology is going to radicalize the workforce, and how AI can improve customer engagement and customer experience. So over to you, Venki.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here today. It is just past 6 a.m. in California, but I'm more than used to doing calls at this time, having recently been the CEO of a startup, and I'm just delighted to be here. So what I'm going to do today is do about 20 or 25 minutes of of a presentation. But as Dorothy mentioned, we really do want to keep this interactive, and I'd love to engage in a discussion about some of the concepts that I will present. So the topic is the future of customer engagement powered by AI. And so let me begin with some trends that are sort of quite pervasive today in the customer engagement sphere. So and none of this should be a surprise to any of us. 70% of all customer interactions today start on a smartphone, right? And that wasn't true even 20 years ago, but today smartphones are pervasive, and that's where a consumer starts their journey with a business. As of about 2 years ago, this is before the pandemic, just under half of all consumers actually expressed a preference for interacting with businesses using messaging technologies. So they'd rather text a business than call them. About half of them said that was their preference. And on the flip side, the businesses that we spoke to, about 80% of all of them said that they wanted to increase the level of self-service automation and plan to introduce chatbots within 2 years. So these are very broad trends, and as consumers, these are kind of also very familiar to each of us. What happened about 2 years ago? Just about 2 years ago. It's hard to believe that it's been 2 years, but the COVID pandemic actually took these trends and then put them on steroids, right? So as you can see, there was a sudden spurt in adoption of digital around 2 years ago, and McKinsey actually estimated that the world actually moved 5 years forward in digital adoption in just a matter of around 8 weeks back in 2020. And in our industry, essentially, this is kind of like the spark for a transformation that's been on slow burn for a number of years, but this digital adoption has really lit the fuse. And so things like cloud adoption, adoption of self-service technologies, digital channels, and AI have become mainstream concerns for almost every contact center that we speak to. However, given even despite this enormous attention, enormous investment, enormous catalyst that showed up about 2 years ago, what was really surprising, especially in the initial days of the pandemic, was that call volumes actually increased by 35%, and people were holding on calls a lot longer, sometimes over 10 times the amount of time that they were used to holding. And we shouldn't have been surprised at all. You know, with the immediate impulse to go digital, a lot of companies went digital without actually doing a great job. And therefore, what happened was consumers came to the websites, came to digital channels, started their journey, but couldn't complete it and had no choice but to go back on the calls. And with a shortage of staff during the early days of the pandemic and this increased traffic coming in, things just went from bad to worse. Right. So typical types of problems that we saw during the period were people calling to complain they couldn't log in, or they couldn't get their status online, couldn't process the refund on the web as promised, and so on. A number of complaints like that. And even companies that implemented chat early on didn't quite get it right, or chatbots, and the person who was called actually to complain that the chat didn't work. So it was kind of quite ironic. And essentially, if you take a step back and see, why was this so? It's pretty clear that in the early days, that's about 2 years ago, rushing to digital, companies didn't take the time to stitch things together the right way, right? So there was little context from, say, the website to the chat. Channels were disconnected. If a customer came in on chat and then placed a call later or sent an email, there was no continuity between those two journeys. Chatbots often didn't do the job they were promising to do, and at the end of the day, without integration, nothing really works. So you set up a chatbot, it answers a few questions, but if the customer is really looking to process a refund and the chatbot is not connected to your refund management system, then it's really not going to work, right? So these were some of the challenges. And so if you're looking at a digital transformation effort, it is now clear that it's not just the channel that's important. It's not just the desire to go digital. It's not just asking your customers to go to the website that's important. It's really getting the details right. It's getting contextual communication, omni-channel, truly omni-channel, where all the channels are part of a single journey. Getting your automation to be smart, even if it's simple, it should do the job right. And then providing the integrations from your communications to the systems of record that get the job done for your customer. So those are some of the things that are key. So we've distilled that down to the critical ingredients for a platform that can do this well, right? So a single source of truth. So really a single place where all the customer journeys kind of resolve to one single view, which is omni-channel by design. So regardless of what channel the customer is coming in, they're continuing a journey that they started and not restarting a different transaction. Getting the automation right, and that often means that it doesn't have to be complete on the first go. It just has to do what it's designed to do well, and has the capability to learn what is the next thing that should be automated and how to automate it well, right? So self-learning should be built into the system. Most importantly, never leave your customer hanging. If they come in, they expect an answer, and the bot doesn't answer, they should be able to transition to a human being who knows what they've been through in order to pick up the conversation from the chatbot. So, and then finally, part of our learning is that getting customer experience right itself is a journey, and the only way to do that right is to have transparency through the entire platform. So measure everything that's going on, provide a path for the business to iterate on it and improve continuously, so that the service keeps up with the expectation of the consumer. So with that as the backdrop, talk a little bit about why Dialpad approaches this problem in the right spirit. So of the platforms in the market, Dialpad is probably the only one that's designed from the ground up to be a single platform that does all of this in one place. So now, of course, there's benefits to what are called best of breed solutions, where as a business, you buy different pieces of technology, each of which that is great at its job, and then you integrate it to get to the solution that you want. But that can pose challenges in many instances. Sometimes the technologies simply do not fit. So So with Dialpad, we've taken the approach that a single stack that has the core of everything you need, and then you layer on functionality on top of that, gets you to the right end goal. So Dialpad is what we call true CaaS, or true communications as a service. Includes the AI contact center, AI outbound. It has a platform that has AI built in, and can do voice, video, messaging, social channels, email, all in one platform. So if you look at the journey on a platform such as this, the customer journey, the customer can in fact connect from any channel. They can come in from a phone call, they can come in on email, they can come in on SMS, they can come in on WhatsApp, on Instagram, they can come in on web chat, from a mobile app. It doesn't matter, right? Regardless of where they come in from, they get connected to the contact center through what we call a virtual agent, whose sole job is to greet the customer and to determine what are they here for, right? What are they intending to do? Why do they contact the business? So, and it can do that in a very conversational way, or it can also take advantage of the properties of the channel. So if they're coming in from a mobile app, you can just paint the mobile app with the right set of screens and menus and choices for the customer to click through. Likewise, on a web chat, if they're coming in on Facebook, Facebook provides a number of UI facilities to do that. If they're just coming in on voice, or if they're coming in on just text, you can be very conversational. You know, what can I do to help you is the greeting, and the customer just types freely or speaks freely, and then the virtual agent determines from that what is their intent, right? And then the job of the virtual agent is to triage that request. So if there's more information needed, for example, the customer wants to redeem his or her points, you need to collect the customer ID, you need to authenticate the customer, and then send it along to resolution. So once you triage, the virtual agent can then determine, is there an answer available in a knowledge base? Or is this a process that has to be executed? So redeem your points. How many points do you want to redeem? What do you want to get in exchange for it? And then go to a backend system to complete the transaction, right? So is that the flow that you're looking to complete? Or is the customer looking for something a little bit more complex and nuanced, and they do need the services of a human being to help them complete that, right? So the virtual agent is empowered to make that kind of determination. And of course, that decision is not one and final. You can flow from knowledge to workflow to an agent, all as part of the same journey under the supervision of the virtual agent. On the agent side, what we provide is what we call a single pane of glass. So, and in that single pane of glass, the agent can communicate on any channel with the customer. The agent can see the entire history of this customer's journey through previous interactions, as well as the journey through the virtual agent for this interaction. The agent has access to their colleagues in case they need to have a consultation internally, and the agent can also tap into other internal systems such as a CRM to look at data that may be external to the system. The agent also has access to an AI agent assist functionality that can listen to the conversation and surface up recommendations to help the agent along. So for example, links to knowledge base articles on how to redeem points, so that the agent can either read that out or put that in the chat, or simply use that to execute a process. And as I mentioned earlier, it's important for the system to be transparent. So what we do is we measure everything that's going on in the system, right? And also what we do is that front-end virtual agent experience, in that triaging process, it often turns out that businesses have lots of sources of data already. The website, they've invested in the website, and put a lot of information there. There is information in their CRM. There's information from their prior customer conversations and tickets. There's information in other internal systems. What we do is we index all of that information and use that for the virtual agent to provide the right answer when the customer first contacts the business. Right? So the self-service is smart and gets smarter over time as the trove of knowledge increases and gets more sophisticated in the business. And you can put this all together using what we call a no-code workflow designer, right? So there's data coming from the customer, there's data coming from the website or the channel, there's data coming into the self-service, and then the customer may get transferred to the agent. All of this can be orchestrated using the business's own policies, using a very simple designer where the business themselves can design the customer journey that they want, and that's ideal for their customer profiles. You can even personalize it to each customer type or even to individual consumers. The result of this is many of the problems that I identified due to lack of context or lack of connectivity or lack of integrations, those sort of melt away with a system like this, and the result is better customer satisfaction, and which leads to better loyalty and net promoter score, better visibility for the business into customer experience. So a lot of the time when we talk to our customers, all they want, the business customer, all they want is to know what's happening with the customer. That enables them to be more responsive and more agile as they interact with their consumers. Right? With the no-code workflow designer, it's possible to go live in just days, and with the data gathering, the system is geared towards continuous improvement. Some of the customers who are using this very successfully with us, they span different industries. Ooredoo is the largest telco in the Middle East region. They use our platform to communicate with their consumers via social media, provide triaging automation and self-service for functions such as top-ups and paying your bills. But very agile digital customer service for their consumers who come in to talk to their agents. Kingsborough Community College is a college in New York in the US. They use our platform to provide a wide range of services on their website and on Instagram. Many of their students are used to Instagram, and so they come in on Instagram to ask questions such as about financial aid or about classes. They can even join a virtual classroom via when they come in on Instagram and get directed there by the virtual agent, the Dialpad virtual agent. Consumers Energy is a public utility based in Michigan in the US, and they use our platform to take calls about bill payment and satisfy the bill payment on SMS. And if the customer still needs to talk to an agent to discuss further details, then they get transferred from that SMS-based interaction to a voice call. So essentially, that significantly improved resolution rates on this particular type of call, while providing the customer a path to the agent. You can even try this yourself. One of our most prominent customers in the UK is Gtech, which is a manufacturer of cordless devices, cordless vacuums and such. And if you go to their website, you can interact with the implementation of the Dialpad system right on their website. It can take care of troubleshooting 20 of their 35 products right on the website, with, of course, a path right into the contact center via chat. So with Dialpad, just to summarize, what we bring to the table is a comprehensive, truly integrated digital experience that is seamlessly integrated with voice. So it is truly a true CaaS platform that provides a multi-channel or an omni-channel agent desktop with integrations into CRMs and other systems. AI is natively integrated through the entire system, provides a virtual agent functionality and an agent assist functionality, which is powered by a deep semantic search and indexing of all the knowledge sources available to the enterprise, as well as all of the conversations that take place through these systems. We provide the no-code workflow designer that makes it easy for a business to customize the platform to their particular context and their particular use. And it's built on a global cloud-native platform with voice services in many different countries across the globe and digital worldwide, integrated to Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, and of course, web chat, SMS, and voice around the world. So that concludes my presentation. At Dialpad, where our logo is work beautifully. It's our aim to simplify communications for every type of user, including for the contact center, and for us to enable the most powerful, modern, digital-first, AI-first customer engagement possible. With that, I'm more than happy to take questions.
Brilliant. Thank you, Venki. And just a reminder to everybody, if you have any questions or comments or observations, just to share or just to put them in the chat option there. So Venki, sorry, I see a question coming in already. So from John, non-standard queries are often more common and varied than many people would estimate. Do you foresee a time when chatbots can handle such non-standard queries without the need to include a human in the process at any stage?
That's a great question, John. And that is, so the self-learning is key to getting chatbots right. So a chatbot, at the end of the day, a chatbot, to be honest, is a human designed program with a best effort guess at what it should do on day one, right? So a non-standard inquiry is probably something the chatbot won't answer on day one, but with the platform that we've designed, that inquiry is going to be transferred to an agent, but our AI is going to be listening to that conversation and learning from it, right? And that learning then gets surfaced to the business, and the business then has an option to say, oh, this is the type of inquiry I want the chatbot to handle the next time around. And using the workflow, the no-code workflow designer, it's very easy to incorporate that use case into the chatbot. So the next time around, the chatbot can serve that query, right? So in summary, our reporting essentially will tell the business all the non-standard inquiries the chatbot couldn't handle in any period of time that had to be handled by humans, with recommendations on which ones should be then designed into the chatbot for automation. So the expertise base, if you will, of the chatbot grows over time to include more and more inquiries that may start out as being non-standard.
So in other words, you're sort of expanding your frequently asked questions all of the time. And I suppose there's some way of tagging the more frequent queries. To John's point, I know he's saying, these are the more obscure ones, but as you go through the highest down, you start removing them so that they can be automated in terms of the response.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Perfect. Controversial question, is voice dead? So Venki, do companies need to have all of these advisors available to answer calls? Is it more that we need to be skilling people on how to train the bot and develop the AI?
To me, the answer lies in that surprising statistic that I laid out, which is that despite digitalization, voice traffic actually went up. I don't believe voice is dead. In fact, voice has come back with a vengeance, and the reason for that, I think, is that people are starting to get used to voice interfaces on practically everything, right? Thank Amazon and Alexa for that. That's number one. And number two, it may be that in this period of virtual everything, the human connection has become even more important to all of us, right? So while the world is probably sort of on a irreversible path to digital first, voice is becoming more and more important, and it's becoming more and more important for businesses to know how to do voice well. So when the call comes in to an agent, you want that agent to be empowered, well trained, and resolve the problem quickly and put a smile on the customer's face. So I think that is as crucial today as it has ever been.
And I think we've actually talked about this, Venki, on previous webinars, of just that the voice calls are becoming much more higher value calls, and therefore from an advisor perspective, there's a higher level of skills required. And I suppose it makes the role more interesting, more engaging, because it's not your repetitive, what years ago was, a password reset. It's not those types of interactions at all anymore. And another question, why do you think the Dialpad product has been so well received, in particular in the finance and the banking sector, the particular aspects around that?
Yeah, so there are a few aspects about the product. So first of all, businesses are looking for a single platform. It can get troublesome for many businesses, IT departments, to manage multiple vendors, not just in terms of relationships, but just the integrations and making sure they work together. So having more of the functionality from one vendor is highly valuable. That's number one. Number two, on the digital side, everything that I talked about today, we've designed it for compliance. So it's PCI compliant. It's also HIPAA compliant, which makes it suitable for healthcare use cases as well. It's GDPR compliant, so designed with privacy in mind. So those make it really valuable for financial industries, which value both data integrity, privacy, and in many cases, compliance is a non-negotiable. That's another value. And the third piece is AI integration, right? AI has become almost, for almost every business, especially the larger businesses, AI is the key to serving their customers. But businesses today are really challenged to provide excellent customer service. If you don't excel on your customer service, you're going to be left behind by your competitors. And AI has become indispensable to doing that. So being able to transcribe every conversation, learn from it, and improve your practices is becoming critical for success. So those are some of the reasons why Dialpad is becoming a very respected name.
And Venki, if you're someone on the call now and you've different applications doing different things, so for instance, we actually have a quality specialty interest group meeting at the moment. I know some of the members are actually on this call, and one of the challenges that's coming across is that different applications do different things, but they don't all talk to each other, and therefore there's a lot of merging of data and extra work that companies are having to do to pull everything to have one clean shot of where we're at. So Dialpad sits on top of all those types of platforms and applications and pulls them all together, or how would a company sitting here today who has one or a couple of those different ones and says, God, what you guys are doing is great, but how would it work for me? What's the answer to that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. The reality is that many businesses, do have and rely on multiple systems and rely on data from multiple systems. So what you want to do, or what you want to put in place, is a practice that says that you want to concentrate as much of the data together as possible, right? So broadly, if I look at a business, there's the communications and conversational data, and Dialpad integrates all of that in one place. Regardless of channel, we integrate all that in one place. Then there's the systems of record for customer relationship or transaction data, and typically you may have a CRM do that, or there may be a few other systems. But what you want to do is that at least provide a system of correlation between your conversational data and your CRM data, right? So what Dialpad can do is provide those cross-indexing capabilities that allow you to at least make sense of data from these two sources. But on the communication side, we maintain all the data from every channel, from every interaction, whether it's internal, external. That's the advantage. You have the data from your agents talking to customers, as well as your employees talking to each other, all in one place. So that data is in one place in the Dialpad system.
And obviously having Stripe as a client is a huge bonus. Obviously they're an Irish started company, so we're very proud of them. So I presume that as a client opens many doors in terms of people recognizing that they're in the fintech space, they're sort of leading edge. So if they're using your technology, they've obviously seen the benefits of it.
That's absolutely right. Yep. So we're proud to be in Ireland, and we're proud to be in the fintech industry. We're also proud to be in many other industries. So we serve customers in telcos, utilities, governments, education, retail, across the board. So we're truly a platform that can serve a very broad user base.
Brilliant. And last question, Venki, where do you see digital experience product moving to in the future? Sort of what more improvements can be done?
So I think some of the key improvements that we see are in the following areas. So with digital, digital channels can be asynchronous. So for example, if you're used to messaging, on people on WhatsApp, you're used to communicating continuously over a long period of time, and messages come in when they do, right? So that is, I think you'll see consumers looking for that kind of experience with their businesses over time. So it's not necessarily I'll pick up the phone and expect to have something done in the next 5 minutes. It's I want to message the business whenever I have something to say, or I want to ask something, and I expect a response. So asynchronous, I think, is going to become a lot more prevalent. The second thing I think that's going to be consumers are going to start to expect are more proactive service. So that is the business letting them know ahead of time of anything that should be of interest, right? Not in a very spam kind of way. I think spam is obviously something that bothers consumers a lot, but much more intelligent, curated, more relevant communications from businesses coming in a timely manner, so that the consumer is up to date and current on their relationship with the business. So those are two things that I see as big trends on the digital side, and of course increasing use of AI for things like personalization of interactions, for delivering the right content at the right time, the right communications at the right time, and frankly for solving problems faster, quicker, and with higher quality.
Brilliant, perfect. So I know Mark is still there in the background. So if anybody on today's webinar has any further questions, there's Mark back. Obviously, Mark, they can contact you guys in Workair, and if anybody wants to sort of lift the bonnet and find out a little bit more. So anybody that wants the details, just drop me an email, or you'll find Mark on LinkedIn, and you'll obviously find Venki on LinkedIn as well. So Venki, I was going to say you can go back to bed now, but I'm sure you're not. I'm sure you're going to go out to enjoy the sunshine in California. I'm very jealous. I can see if the blinds shut there, just not to depress us, to see the sun that's outside your door. While we're here in grey Ireland, or grey Kildare for me anyway. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for stepping in at the last minute. We really appreciate it. And thanks to Josh, who I know is there in the background, and obviously many thanks to Mark and the team in Workair for the second event in the series. And obviously we're already planning our next event, so we'll be in touch on that. And then normal couple of housekeeping things from a CCMA perspective. Our team leader masterclass is on the 12th of May, our first in-person event in 2 years. So please let all your team leaders know, and they are absolutely more than welcome to come along for what will be a great networking event. And again, we have our conference happening on the 19th of May in the Aviva Stadium, and it's CX, Reimagining CX and Employee Engagement 2022. So we have a great lineup of speakers there. So really hope that some of the people and the members on today's call can join us at that as well. But Venki, thank you so much again. And Mark, thanks as always. And to Josh in the background, and hope everybody has a lovely afternoon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for hosting, Dorothy. Thanks, Venki.